is to make drawings that people will pay you to make, and do a little bit of option 3 on the side. Some artists will take commissions.
Yo, what's up guys? We're gonna be checking out The Odd Ones Out, the truth about making cartoons. See, I took animation class back in high school and I know how long it takes to make an animation. So whenever people, rush animators, I always say, yo, relax. It takes forever, promise you.
Recently, I read the worst YouTube comment ever, and I can't
you read
stop
the comments?
thinking about it. This comment lives in my head
I read
completely
my comments.
rent-free. It lives in its own private penthouse. The comment was
I have an
concerning my
opinion.
upload schedule, and it was, if anime studios can make an episode of anime in 1 week, then
that's
these
not-
YouTubers
that's
can
not a
make
fair
a video
comparison.
in a month.
Come on, they have like
Initially, I reacted
hundreds.
Like, you think
and
that's how
hundreds.
this works? You think anime studios post an episode and go, "Great work, team. Well, time to make the next episode this week."
Exactly.
Hope you have any plans? I know the working conditions in Japan are bad, but sheesh. I guess all the animators are just slacking off between seasons then, huh? And as I thought about it more, I realized I can't get too mad. This
Yeah, you
person
can.
is just uneducated about the animation industry
Oh,
and
okay.
is probably a minor. And
Fair
then I
enough.
thought, hey, I know a bit about animation behind the scenes. Maybe I could talk about being an artist and educate people
Yeah.
on the animation pipeline.
Go
So
ahead
that
and
way,
inform
I
us.
won't get any more uneducated comment. For this video, when I say artist, I'm going to be talking about the Google definition of an artist. Noun, a person who produces paintings or drawings as a profession or hobby.
Damn, I'm
You
not
know,
an
the
artist.
pen and paper artists. I'm not really going to be talking about artists who make music or birthday cakes or take black and white
Okay.
photos of sunsets because I want to talk about cartoons. I make cartoons. Now, it should come to no surprise that I'm pro-artist. Well, not a pro-artist. Are you kidding? I know my skill level. I still can't draw fingers. What I'm saying is,
you're
I
pretty
will
good
support
at this,
anyone
though.
who wants to make art. If you're making art as a hobby, then that's a really great creative outlet, and having something physical as an end result is incredibly rewarding. But if you want to turn making art into a full-time job,
You'll
you might
hate
want to
it.
sit down and consider a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you sure you don't want to go to law school? The biggest challenge all artists face is they have to eat food to survive. And in this capitalist society, food
Costs money.
money. So
Mhm.
artists are challenged to somehow
Economics.
take being good at making shapes and turn that into money. I know of 4 ways an artist can make a living. The first way is to be so good at art that people will pay money to hang it up in their house. The second option is to make caricature drawings at beaches and tourist traps.
I
The
got
third
one of
option
those
is
done.
To sell your plasma. And the fourth
Sell
option, which is the
plasma!
most common option, is to make drawings that people will pay you to make. And do a little bit of option 3 on the side. Some artists will take commissions, which is basically an artist going, "Hey, I'll draw whatever you want, asterisk, for $100. And people will go, "What the f? Art should be free. I was going to give you so much exposure to my 50 Twitter followers."
Brother.
Or people
I
will
know they
go,
hate that.
"I want you to draw this cute animal character I made, and while at first your price might seem a bit high to the uneducated, I understand that art is a time-consuming process and you need to eat too.
There you
So
go.
here's a crisp $100." But another somewhat more stable idea is that artists will get jobs at studios or work for a YouTuber, and we'll be like, "Hey, we'll give you money if you draw specifically what we want, and if we don't like your art, we'll make sure to communicate clearly what we would like changed and work as a team to do the best we can."
I actually did want to be an animator growing up. Well, technically, I wanted to create an animated show, and not always, but usually people who create animated shows know how to draw as well. But then I took that animation class in high school and I realized how long it takes. Plus, I wasn't the best artist. Like, I can't draw for ish. You should see my stick figures. Even they look terrible. So yeah, I gave up on that dream. But shout out to all the artists who never gave up, bro. I hope you don't gotta sell too much of your plasma.
Or you're fired! And that leads us into animation. An important thing to remember for animation is that drawings equal time plus money.
There you
Exactly
go.
how much time?
A
Well,
lot.
to answer that one commenter's question, no, an anime studio does not make an episode of anime in 1 week.
No, they
I
don't.
think. South Park is what making an episode in a week looks like.
Yes,
and
sir.
truthfully, that's very impressive. I take months trying to figure out what the heck I'm even going to talk about. Making a single episode of a cartoon from scratch takes about 2 years.
Woo!
Don't believe me? Well, let's see what Yakko from the 2020 Animaniacs has to say in the very first episode. At least, we still think there's a President Trump. You see, the writers are writing this in 2018. Now that doesn't mean it took 26 years to make the first season of the Animaniacs. There's a lot of moving parts that happen when producing an animated TV series. For starters, the whole season of the show gets made at the same time. While the writers are writing episode 12, the storyboard team is boarding episode 3, and the design team is designing the bowling shoes that are going to be worn in episode 6. And it's someone's entire job to make sure that everyone's doing their job. This is called the animation pipeline.
Human sacrifices at the top.
I could honestly make a whole other video about this pipeline.
Oh.
If you're interested, I'll do it. But just know that it takes roughly 2 years to make a season of a cartoon show. And that's why when shows reference memes, they're extremely outdated. You know, like a boss.
That's like
It's beautiful, isn't it?
2012,
this
right?
Exterior nighttime city skyline
Older?
background. This background was drawn by one of my background artists, Annie Loomis, and it took 7 hours to make. And it was used specifically for this clip. If it wasn't for the Cats movie, I would have thought Hollywood knew what they were doing too. It lasted for 4 seconds.
7 hours
of work
for 4 seconds.
4 seconds of content.
That's nuts.
So before we continue, I'm going to make you all sit and appreciate this background for another 4 seconds so I can double the value of this background.
I respect it, bro. Let's do it, man. Mad respect. Get your money's worth.
Backgrounds can be a time-consuming process, and the whole purpose of them is to be in the back of the ground. They're not even the focus. So storyboarders will sketch out a scene to set the staging through layout, posing, and character expression. And during this phase, I'm trying to find places where I can reuse backgrounds or take pieces of other backgrounds and monster them together to make an entirely new background. Like how I used the city background to be outside this window, or how I took the buildings from this background, the bushes from this background, and the bench from this background and made an entirely new background. And hopefully, none of you noticed.
Nice.
Am I being cheap? Or cutting corners?
You're being
Absolutely.
efficient, bro.
But that's the point. That gives another background artist more time to make something else, like this James-themed city skyline, instead of having to draw 20 different backgrounds of a bedroom.
Another trick that I actually know that they do in anime is that they don't have the people mouth talking or moving all the time. Like they'll pan or transition to a character who's not talking. Plus you don't see a lot of movement in anime until they get to the fight scenes. They usually try to keep it as simple as possible until they get to the fight scenes. If you're talking about anime, of course. So yeah, I highly respect what he's saying. Sometimes you gotta reuse things, chop it up a little bit, create a new background. That way you're not spending 7 hours to make every single 4 seconds of the video that you see. That would just take way too long, too much money. Come on. And then you're definitely gonna complain about how the video takes too long to get uploaded. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
I already have a bedroom. Let's just do something else, please. It's not being lazy. It's getting the most use, the most mileage out of your hard work. Best bang for your buck. I see this next story pop up on Twitter about every month, and it makes me want to stab my eyes out. If you look at this scene from The Jungle Book and this scene from Winnie the Pooh, these two similarly proportioned boys are eerily moving in the exact same way.
Didn't even notice that.
Plagiarized? Did someone from Winnie the Pooh plagiarize The Jungle Book? No.
It's both
Remember
Disney.
what he said about drawings equal time plus money? Well, back in the old days of animation, before fancy graphics cards and floppy disks, animation frames had to be physically painted onto floppy transparent sheets called cells.
Yuck.
So animated movies were essentially a really long flipbook with over 100,000 hand-drawn painted pages. Back then, drawings equaled even more time and even more money. This whole sequence had to not only be drawn 24 times a second, but it also had to have the correct timing to look like a little boy was jumping on rocks. Just because you drew 24 Mowglis doesn't mean they're gonna look good when you play the frames together. So if you're making a cartoon movie in the 70s and you need a scene where a young boy character is just being a dude and throwing rocks, and you need a really climactic fight scene, are you gonna spend the time and money drawing another boy throwing another rock when someone else already did that 10 years ago?
Exactly.
Or are you gonna reuse the animation the studio already made
Spend the money on the fight scene?
More time and budget to make an even epicer fight scene?
That's what I said.
If these movies were from 2 different studios, then yes, that would be a completely different story. But Disney owns this movement of our boy Mowgli, so they're allowed to use that movement on our boy Chris. Turning your art into a full-time job is very difficult. I'm extremely lucky to not only have this opportunity, but to be able to build an amazing team of talented artists to create these cartoons and share them with you. And because of you watching these videos and supporting me, I'm able to reinvest money into the team so we can make better quality content and I can support more artists. It's a
Eat more
win-win
cheeseburgers.
symbiotic thing we got going on. So if you ever wanted to get into the art industry,
Don't do it.
good luck, get drawing, and start putting that portfolio together.
Well, there you go. Hope you have a newfound respect of animation, cartoons, all of that, because I've known it for a long time. It takes forever. Maybe if I was a better artist, like I've definitely cranked out animation, but it looked so choppy. It looked terrible. Looked absolutely terrible. And if I still had it, I would have showed you guys, but I don't have it. It is long gone. It's lost, so sadly. But yeah, animation takes a long time. Please have respect for the artists in the studios. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, all of that great stuff, because that was it. My name is Prince of Hawkham. Stay charming, my friends.